Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington.
Morning, I'm Brad Payne. I'm with FPIW Action.
Couple of disclaimers before we get started today. Nothing in this video should be construed as an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. It's simply a public service to meet and greet the candidates. Also, this will be recorded and placed on several different platforms. Brad?
All right, Fred, I get the first question. It's simple. First, if you'd state your name and the position you're running for our listeners, and then if you'd give us a brief kind of review of your background and introduce yourself, and then talk a little bit about your family.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, by the way. My name is Fred Grant. I'm running for governor. My great grandfather was part of the first legislation here in Washington, actually, in the late 1800s. And he was also the editor-in-chief of the Washington Post-Intelligencer. And I guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree because I'm also in media and I'm also trying to get involved in politics. So I must run in the blood. I was born and raised in Marietta, Georgia, and I was there for about 22 years and spent 14 years on the West Coast. So I feel like it's given me a good broad perspective of, how our country is and different ideologies that it has. And I think I can help unite it, given, having seen how everybody is on each side of on the country. So I get to see the big picture. I live in King County with my wife, Victoria, and our two cats. And I'm a small business owner, digital media and marketing professional for the past 15 years. And my extracurriculars that I'm pretty proud of is I was an Eagle Scout, martial artist. We spent 9 years traveling the world with not just taking Instagram photos. We went there to stay with the people, learn about their government and honestly how they live their lives. So we were not ignorant to the world. We're also avid volunteers all over King County. We actually just helped out the Auburn Farmers Market two last weekend or 2 weekends ago, and then we're also in the Highland Games in the Grant Clan tent. We're running that throughout all of Washington. And also, I just recently picked this up just for fun, but I'm an independent game developer. So, and that's
Oh,
it.
excellent. Excellent. What is motivating you to run for office?
I'm running because our state, as well as our country, is divided right now. I care a lot about people and animals, and I really want to make a difference in a big way. I think our leaders lack direction and action while our media divides us, and I've seen it myself. Though we really have a lot in common, and there's common ground to be found. I personally experience how unaffordable our homes and healthcare are, and I'm saving for I want to save our planet. I want to implement cleaner energy wherever possible. I mean, people can argue all day about climate change, but you can't argue that we're not polluting, and that's still wrong. We have a homelessness issue, and it's being ignored, you know, straight out. And we have old bridges that need to be addressed. And I think mental illness is growing at an alarming rate, especially past COVID. I'm starting to see things that only people would type just a few years ago. Now it's just in the streets and daily conversation. I think we've forgotten how to be honorable and polite and respectful to others. I think our government is just getting a bit too old, no offense, and I'm hoping to take up the mantle and give our state some direction and peace.
Very good. Well, you've hit on a lot of different concerns, which would have been one of my questions. So I'm going to skip to the next one after that, and that is sitting in the governor's seat, what would you hope to accomplish during your time in office?
Yes, so it's a lot to consolidate in just a few minutes, so I'll just touch on a couple of things briefly. I'll focus mostly on affordable housing. We need to regulate investment firms and individuals from buying up large amounts of properties and flipping them. I know this has been going on for years, but it's actually at an all-time high now just because YouTube's promoting it big time. I'm sure, I don't even know if you guys get this all the time, but on a daily basis, at least a weekly basis, I get somebody calling asking about my property and if it's for sale. Those are the people I'm talking about. They're trying to flip homes and sell them for a much higher rate. They do cheap renovations and raise rents prices, resulting in a worse overall experience for renters and owners. We can also follow Austria's example and increase the amount of non-market housing. It's also a really beautiful place. I recommend you go there. And we can focus on marketing, rezoning, and streamlining the process, especially in the age of AI. There's no reason why we can't streamline processes for filling out applications, understanding when the next hearings are, for dealing with those rezonings. I highly encourage new cities and towns to be planned around walking and trains, which results in greater sense of community, better health by walking, and cheaper transportation, pretty much like Europe and the rest of the planet. Um, then I'll move on. We have bridges that are only meant to live for about 70 years, and a lot of them are near or past that. I want to make sure our teachers' salaries are competitive with surrounding states so that we can retain them. I know it's been getting better since, was it 2012? It's actually come a long way, but there's always room for improvement. I understand that there are disproportionate fundings between districts, and I want to identify the areas and make sure to remedy that. In reference to homelessness, I want to remove the opt-in policy. There's a law that you cannot remove homeless people from encampments unless you can provide enough bedding for them, and the opt-in policy makes it so that they don't have we can't keep track of who's being checked in. So we could have the amount of bedding but not know it because we can't keep data on it. I want to encourage outreach programs. I heard a great presentation for the deputy mayor of Seattle, and she really hones in on encouraging outreach. And it goes a long way when you reach out to people and you bring them back in again, because they might stay there, be rehabilitated for a little bit, then regress. And if you just pick a couple people to stay in their lives, you can really get them to keep coming back. And then I'll just end. I don't know how much time we got, but RV squatting is a big issue. I want to make it so that RV owners would have to prove that their RV runs. And I think this can discourage homelessness, RV squatting.
Awesome. Our fourth and final question is, we provided you with a list of 18 of the issues that FPIW Action and FPIW work on and advocate for. You've mentioned a number of them, like homelessness, addiction recovery, those kind of things. Are there any others that you'd like to discuss or talk to our viewers about?
The number one thing, and this bothers me to no end, is the issue on graffiti. While I, being a creative myself, understand the need to express oneself, graffiti is such an annoyance. Like, I was in Greece and the entire city of Athens was consumed by graffiti. Nothing like traveling all the way across, the world to the Parthenon just to see graffiti all over it. I really don't find it to be a constructive outlet, and I want to enforce harsher laws to criminalize it, because it just is, I don't see it as a productive thing. I did see a few towns were having an area dedicated to graffiti, and maybe that might help scratch that itch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just something that I never really cared for. And also, I don't want any defunding of the police. If you're willing to serve our state and risk your life, then I don't want you to be struggling financially. I do think that we can reallocate some funds to develop better the safer procedures. I mean, we live in the 21st century. We have technology. I'm sure there's procedures that are outdated, and we can maybe work together to make it safer for both parties. I also we need to build trust between law enforcement and communities, figure out ways for that to happen. We have a lack of officers in the state, and here's some ideas. We can have flexible work hours, not requiring the 40 hours a week to be considered part of the force. This may help maintain parents, students, and those unable to handle a full-time workload. Adequate training, I kind of touched on this. It doesn't mean increased budget, just see how to make training more efficient. We can acknowledge officers with an aptitude for teaching and send them to instructor schools. And I want to also encourage ride-alongs. I actually am very interested in doing this myself. I wanted to do it back when I was living in Los Angeles, but I never got a chance. But I'm definitely going to make an effort to do that this year. And I think by doing that, you can ride along with the officers and see how their day-to-day processes, what they go through, and see in the minds, because it's got to be tough, And so, yeah, those are the two that I think really stood out for me.
All right. Well, Fred, thank you so much for your time. I know with all that's going on, there's a lot we could discuss. We've unfortunately got a long list of people to get to, so we have to stop. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to meet with us this morning, and we wish you much luck in the next few weeks as you continue your campaign efforts, and best to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, you guys.
You bet. I'm Brad Payne from FPIW Action.
I'm Brian Noble from FPIW. Again, just a simple reminder that nothing in this video is an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. We want to encourage you to love your neighbor by faithfully stewarding the public square. And if you're one of FPIW's defenders, go out there and defend and advance biblical values in the public square.